An offbeat topic that I'm going to talk about is air pollution. Okay. Now, there've been a lot of things that you've seen on Discovery channels, you've seen on the newspapers, and you've seen them. People make music out of it. Now, pollution is caused, especially air pollution, is caused by contaminants getting into your outdoor and indoor environment. It's not just outdoor. Okay, everything pollution. Oh, it's outside. It's not my house. Okay, sorry guys, pollution is everywhere. It may be a little higher degree outside, but it's not to say that it may not be at a higher level inside. Okay, so what are these things? There are chemical agents, there are physical agents like dust and don't know what else is flying in the air. Even microbes, fungus, pollen in the air. There are a lot of things that get into that can be anywhere. Okay, and this actually changes the natural attribute of what good air is supposed to be like. Okay, and this is what really air pollution is about. Now, indoor pollution is quite high in low to low middle income groups across the world. Okay, because they use things like kerosene, wood, and a lot of things. Now these particular items, what happens is they don't burn 100% efficiently. That's number one. And so a lot of those fumes will get into your house. Okay, and in lower income groups, the houses are smaller, and perhaps the ventilation also will not be very good, so that it's going to just stay in that. Okay, and woods give out different kinds of woods, give different kinds of gases. There are even the ashes that come out that can still linger on, and they can cause allergies and a lot of other things. Now, it doesn't mean that if country is not very well developed, that this is going to be only there. No, unfortunately, even in developed economies, we've got kind of the rich problems, which is things like air fresheners, hairsprays, disinfectants to the toilets. They're all like loaded with chemicals. And like I mentioned in an earlier topic, that, there are toxins in the household. And probably your bathroom is probably the most toxic of the entire lot, because of all those shampoos and soaps and disinfectants, and then you run your shower with a hot spray, and that kind of makes it an aerosol, and then it goes very nicely into your lungs. It's all bathed in. So I mean, you'll be having traces of probably makeup, and if your spouse is also using the shower, then whatever she's used, whatever makeup she's used, and if you go into it, you'll also breathe in that stuff. So that's a kind of pollutants are there everywhere. Okay, and it doesn't only necessarily mean that it's going to be sticking to the people who don't have money. Okay, and the lower income groups. Okay, now there are other things that generally get out into the environment. Things like refrigerants. To run your refrigerator, we use gases, and they've of course come with better gases that are do not affect the ozone layer, but they're still toxic. And sometimes these refrigerants are not disposed correctly. Somebody just goes and throws the refrigerator out. Okay, and eventually that gas leaks out, and stuff happens. So that escapes into the atmosphere, and traces of that even you're breathing. Old batteries are becoming they're becoming really a big problem. And the next fear is, then why do you think everybody says, oh, electricity is a cleaner fuel and we can drive electric cars, and we'll bring down the air pollution? The only problem is that a lot of the lithium batteries, they die out. They're not going to live forever, right? So when they start to break down, die out, they have to be disposed, and lithium is extremely toxic. And now this disposal is becoming a big problem, because eventually that will get into the soil, and if water gets into that soil, that water will move, and then it kind of spreads that contaminant quite far. And finally that reaches the soil where you put your plants, and the plants are going to pick it up, and you're going to go munch, eat all those veggies, and yeah, maybe you'll get more energy, more lithium, in the blood, all that stuff. Okay. And of course, now the biggest problem we have is plastic waste. Okay, now there are huge movements across the world where they're trying to ban the use of non-biodegradable plastics, because they look like there are now new bags that you get. They look like plastic, they feel like plastic, but they aren't. Okay, they will disintegrate after a couple of weeks. So and it's more naturally made. Okay, they don't use as much chemicals as you think they would. They use a lot of vegetable waste and whatever gelatin and things that can be broken down by bacteria very easily. Okay, so there is a movement across the world where they're trying to replace this, but it's going to be a huge task because we've been in a very plastic dependent economy, right? Now, even if you order food out and it comes in, and what do you get? You get that nice piece of sellotape. Now, the amount of sellotape that's probably being manufactured every year might be able to take you to Mars and back. That much of distance of sellotape you might have created every year, and that's got to go somewhere, right? Yeah. So that's probably the next thing that's going to get attacked. Is all the packaging products are now also going to start. They're going to start really making a huge effort on that, because cellophane tape is plastic. So just to give you an idea about what happens to these boxes and all that stuff. Now you'll be asking me, okay, it's all solid waste. Okay, what does that got to do with air pollution? It's got a lot of things to do with air pollution, because once they're exposed to, like, for example, ocean, water, the sun, they break down. Some of these components break down. They do get into the air. Okay, in fact, certain plastics should not be burnt. Yeah, they should not be burnt because some of them can give off cyanide gas. Okay, so it still comes back to air pollution somehow or the other. Okay, there's some bay pollutant and it somehow gets into the air. It might come through, natural degradation because of sunlight and in water and whatever, winds and things like that. But that's not just the only problem that we have. It's all getting collected. Now, as the ocean currents go around, they swirl this garbage. And I think you might have seen this, and it's like you've got the Pacific Ocean, which has two sections. One is the eastern garbage patch and the other one the western garbage patch. And that's because of how the ocean currents are. But it's not just there. There are more places across the world where that's happening. But these are one of the biggest ones. And you can see this picture of it right there. There's a boat in the middle of this junk. And there's only... they say that this trash collection or this swirl of garbage that's landed up there, because it's just been tossed. Next time you take a box and you throw it, just imagine where do you think it's going to land up, right? Sometimes, people, especially if we live near the ocean or near a river, don't throw any boxes of waste. And if you go on picnics and all of that, take your own bag, take your garbage back with you. Just don't just chuck it around and just expect some guardian angel to come and pick it up for you. And the size of this whole little thing is supposed to be as big as the state of Texas. Okay, it's as big as one province. So you can imagine how big this problem is. Yeah, they're trying to come up with solutions as to how to clean this up. But the problem is, this is what's on the surface. Not everything floats. A lot of it has gone down to the ocean bed as well. And that's also swirling through the undercurrents. And they're deep in the bottom of the ocean. And what do you think that's going to happen to the marine life there? It's going to affect the marine life. Coral reefs. We don't know what else is going to happen and the damages that this has caused. And those pollutants being in the water, and the water evaporates and they become rain clouds. We don't know what happens there, where all that stuff is going. So it's all somehow getting into your atmosphere again. So pollution is something that you can't say, oh, the neighboring country is doing it. It's not going. It affects everyone. If something is being done 20,000 miles away, it's going to affect you here. So there's no running away from it. It's it has to be a global conscious decision to do something about it. So air pollution causes a lot of immediate things like premature deaths, like ischemic strokes, lung ailments, lung cancer. A lot of things come up with it. And especially if you're breathing in that environment very, very often, and it's a very toxic environment, you're definitely going to fall sick very, very soon. Now, the problem is 99% of the people living on this planet are still below what the WHO recommends. There's a standard of like air standard that they have, and 99% of the world is still not in that good standard. We're still off that standard, and that's 99% is as good as the whole world. So this is something that is definitely going to not just affect us, it's going to affect the generations ahead of us, because it's accumulating. Okay, and it's compounding every time. And as you know, our population is growing, and that's only going to add to that problem. So we've got to be a little quick and sharp about this, and be a little responsible, especially when disposing anything. Be mindful about where you're disposing it, and always find the right place, because there are garbage bins, there are disposal systems. You have to follow them. I mean, a good habit is, let's say you're walking on the road and you eat an ice cream and you got a wrapper. Find a waste disposal. Usually be at the shop that you bought it at. If not, if you're in your car, put it in your glove compartment. If in your bike, put it somewhere, or put it in your pocket. And then go to your maybe a house, or I have this big habit. Any wrappers that I have, they're all in my pocket. And I come home and I finally just put them in the waste basket. I don't know, it's just a habit. But I mean, there are ways that you can do it. So pollution is everywhere, and you have to defend yourself. So how do you defend yourself? Because when you step out, you're going to be breathing God knows what, right? So defend yourself. Have a good regime of vitamin C with you. Vitamin C is something that will at least break down the free radicals that come through these toxins. Okay? Water. And of course, hydrate yourself before you step out, because the water is the one that's going to, the vitamin C is going to break down those and stop those toxins, but the water is the one that's going to come in and do the exchange and send it out. Okay. If have a good diet plan, and if there's something that I have, and that people follow me who do this, is called the dynamic vitality model. So if you have something which will give you a very focused plan that is going to help you with the vitality, so definitely put you back. And for those who are in it, you're definitely seeing the benefits. Okay, wear a mask when you're working with anything that's chemical based. Even if you're cleaning the bathroom, it might be a good idea just to wear a mask, because just an unnecessary amount of toxin is going to be inhaled. Okay, so you're just going to stress your system out. Your system will defend itself, it will do something, but at the same time, it's better to, you cover your thing with a cloth, or you use a mask or whatever, and try not to hang around, especially after you've cleaned something, especially the bathroom or something, or the toilet. Try and run the exhaust fan, close the door, and stay away for a couple of maybe 30 minutes or so. It's always good to also get a lot of indoor plants, and you'll find what we call plants that actually purify the air, and you'll find a lot of them. And there's a whole list of these kind of plants. I'll do that as a topic when I go forward, about what kind of plants that you can have indoor, and how do you nurture them, because a lot of people buy plants and they just suddenly wither and die away. But there are a lot of reasons for it. But try and keep indoor plants, because they definitely do help. And as you know, plants they don't always give off oxygen. Okay, in the night they're doing something else. They're also releasing a certain amount of carbon dioxide, because they have to process, they have to grow. And so you may not just want to live surrounded by potted plants, because in the night it may not be a good thing. Okay, so if you're doing a lot of intense cooking, and make sure there's good ventilation, make sure you have a good kind of exhaust system, or a good chimney that can suck out a lot of the stuff, so that it doesn't, you don't breathe the fumes. Oil fumes are not great to breathe in, and they can cause issues. They can clog up the lungs sometimes. So just make sure you have good ventilation. Don't try to burn something very hot in the oil, because it's definitely going to get into your. And if you do sniff, very hot oil, it can be quite irritating. So that's going to kind of stay in your system for some time. So try to avoid it. And definitely, when you're going out, avoid the peak hours during traffic. Okay, I mean that's when everything is spewing out from all those automobiles and those two-wheelers and whatever is out there. So try to avoid traffic during peak hours. And some people will say, okay, I'll wear this mask. But the problem about wearing masks, the ones especially that help you battle pollution, they get dirty. And what happens is they start blocking the pores where you breathe in. And so what happens is those holes start to become smaller and smaller, and they'll build up humidity, your own breathing. When you breathe out, there's a lot of moisture coming out, and that sits on your mask. And while this keeps going in and out, the moisture in the air gets superheated. And what happens is you can actually start to dry out your throat. Yeah, can you believe it? A mask. Yeah, so if it's a fresh mask, you better use a fresh mask every day. If you can't do that, then just make sure it's a cotton material and not synthetic, and also that you're washing it thoroughly every day. Or buy 3 of them and just keep cycling and keep washing, keep drying and doing it. Because if you wear it for too long, and typically if you wear it for more than 4 or 5 hours, this problem will start to alleviate. And if you don't wash it, you'll get microbes growing in those pores. Okay. And then you might pick up a weird cough or, kind of a weird respiratory problem. So you just want to avoid that. So I know pollution is something that we have to live with every day. And sometimes it can be scary. But don't worry, the body is strong enough to handle it. But overexposure is never good. So I do hope you enjoyed this topic. And if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover, just go down to the comments. And if you did like watching a lot of these, please put comments below and try and see if you can follow me. For those who are not in the dynamic vitality models plan system, and you're watching this video elsewhere, so do comment and do try to find out if you'd like to see more of the stuff, because there's a lot of videos I keep making every week. And I'll hope to see you very soon on the next video. Thanks.